All right, guys, we're on another fantastic episode of The True Hot Seat with Jesse Garcia and myself, Hyman, and we're here with Brutus Lederl. Brutus, thank you for coming on board.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Right on, right on. Can you give us a little insight of like your daily life and what do you do?
It's running.
Right now, I'm a regional vice president. I'm a broker of a financial firm right now, and I run. I have agents and different clientels. So on a daily basis, we're constantly mentoring and training and developing new relationships with business owners and developing new relationships with new potential clients and prospects that's going to work with us either part-time or even move on a full-time basis. But we run our own financial firm here located in Central Florida, and we're expanding offices throughout, the country. So that's the day-to-day operations. We of course, getting out there, meeting people and setting up interviews and bringing people aboard. So that's just a little bit of what we do during the daytime. And at nighttime, we're out in the field training, developing client relationships, also putting together financial strategies for many different clients. Some are probably be looking for retirement, are looking for goals or ways of actually starting or setting up a retirement or setting up future potential retirement strategies, or they're looking at how they can pretty make sure their families are properly protected, get themselves out of debt, help them to put their, put wills together and different stuff, different aspects of financial services and stuff that we deal with.
Now, when it comes to sales, are you seeing for a lot of salespeople out there, you seeing a huge wealth transformation from the baby boomers? Can you give us a little insight of that?
Actually, right now, it's actually happening. I remember years ago when I first got started, they used to talk about be prepared for the wealth transfer that's about to happen. Because of the baby boomer generation turning 65. I think right now we have it where it's like 10,000 people a day are turning age 65. But there's a couple of phenomena that are happening in the marketplace right now. You have baby boomers that are passing away. You have millennials that are inheriting the new wealth. And then you have also the generation where right now everybody's being exposed to so many that self-education is a big deal right now. So people are trying to figure things out and sort them all out and see how it caters to them. But absolutely, there's a big opportunity in the marketplace for baby boomers, but not only baby boomers, to millennial, which is one of the largest generations. So and the millennials are now moving into that phase to where they're starting to become what we call homeowners. They're starting to have their family. They're starting to plan for their wealth. And, we definitely want to help them to impact to where by the time they become a elderly, they get to 65, that what do they have? So we always focus on the strategy, not necessarily on a certain product.
And Brutus, how long have you been in the financial industry?
Oh, I've been in business since 2007. I started part-time. I used to be an operations manager for Lowe's, so
okay.
Working there. I kind of got sick and tired of the retail world, and then I had a situation that happened to where, I was driving to work one day, my tire bust off my car. I was driving an Expedition, and I realized that, thank God I made it, but I realized that the money that I had saved up was just enough to fix the car. And I was like, something is wrong with this picture. What in the world's going on? And it's just funny how you put stuff out in the universe and it just comes right back, because a couple of weeks later, someone asked me, hey, do you keep your options open for making more money part-time? And I was like, yeah, of course I do, and because I just had this situation. Now my bank account's at zero. So it was only $1,000. Now I was making 53 plus. I was getting bonuses and, different things in this area. It was like, dude, what in the world's going on? So I went on a quest about really this financial education, and realizing how just the lack of information that's out there, how many families are making basing their decision just off of ignorance, pure ignorance. And then, no one's out here just giving the facts. So I went on a quest to not to be the guy to just hope, I get to financial freedom. I had to know that I was getting there. So I put some processes in place. But that's what got me started, was just that one incident. Then I realized, like, wow, I could, if something happened to me right now, what would happen back then with my wife and my children, you know, at my house and cars, you know, different things like that. So it was just crazy.
So let me ask you, Brutus, we met in Las Vegas, right? So, yep. So we met in Vegas, and one of the things that I want to ask you is, when you did the transformation from retail into, you know, financial education, how was that? Was that a scary move? You know, going into the unknown?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, with every situation, it was very scary, because, you know, I knew for a fact that I had responsibilities, and that's why most people don't do it, because they think they have responsibility and they're like the guaranteed paycheck. But then I had to realize that at work, dude, my eyes started twitching. My shoulders were starting to twitch. I was gaining all this weight. I was just as miserable as possible. I'm spending 12, 14, 15 hours away from the house. And then I started part-time with my company. But once I knew I could make $3,000, because I started part-time, I mean, I was doing the training. You know, a lot of people misconstrue, I think, these acronym of intrapreneur versus entrepreneur, right? You know, and the difference between the intrapreneur is that they're working a system that has already been created. You know, all you got to do is get in, start working the system, and then boom. But then an entrepreneur is the one that's really like the Ray Kroc had to develop a system. Well, Ray was an entrepreneur, then he built the entrepreneur system. But but you have to, like, with those guys that are building the system, I didn't have to do anything. I'd have to get the license. I'd have to get the regulations, the state. All I had to do was come in and follow a proven system. And I started working the system on a part-time basis, proving to myself that, first of all, I could be good at this. So I was scared to death because of that. But instead of me focus on what I was scared of, I was looking at what could I gain. And a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that are going into business or working full time, they're so scared of what they could lose versus what they could gain. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't lose anything. I lost a lot, and you know, maybe another podcast I'll tell you what I lost. But I lost a lot. But what I gained was huge. You know, I gained the opportunity to where I was able to spend more time with my children. I gained the opportunity where I was able now to mentor them on the stuff that I started learning about, like how money works. You know, what are some of the tools and the strategies we can put together? You know, when my daughter started working, I made her start investing like $300 a month. You know, by the time she turns 30, she'll have X amount of dollars. You know, I had my son, you know, same thing. Hey, you need to start saving, investing, and start building some wealth. My youngest child is probably the most, she's probably the most entrepreneur person ever, as far as, you know, taking risks. She doesn't care. She takes as much risk as, you know, she don't care. She just one day just jumps up there, doesn't care what people thinks about her, and doesn't care what people says, and she just goes out there. Well, that's what I gained from taking that risk of, it really wasn't a risk. I wasn't dodging bullets, but that's what I gained from
taking the first step.
Taking the first step. Right. You know, so I focus on what I could gain versus what I could lose.
Okay, so you and one of the things that, you know, caught my attention is that we met by fate, you know, and it wasn't chance and it wasn't luck. We met at an event where and I want to talk about this. You said that you had experienced weight gain based on the position that you were. Can you tell me a little bit about the story of, you know, how you went to that same event and then you went back to prove a point, right?
Right. Yeah, I had to at that event, let me tell you, that event was such an eye-opening event. That was a birthday gift that a friend gave me. You know, they felt that I would really benefit from it just because of my determination, my attitude, and who I am, you know. So I went to that event, but that event was real, like, the callus to get me to where I'm at today. Because that event was the very first time that I had to really realize that my weight was a real issue at that time. At that time, I went to the event, I was like 460, 470 pounds, you know, and I started CrossFit that August. So I started working out that August. with CrossFit. And I started getting more mobility, and I started getting more. I couldn't do a burpee. My burpee was more of a burp, so so my jump rope was more of a not really, right? So I had to get more mobility. But thank God I started CrossFit, because now in November I'm at this event to where, because of the little bit of CrossFit I had during that particular time, I was able to do a little bit more of the event. But because I was already a mental tough person, I was able to push myself to a certain limit, but it got to the point to where my weight was not going to allow me to do anything else. It wasn't going to allow it to, to have an event where you had to climb a wall. You had an event where people had to carry you and put you through certain nets, right? So, and I was embarrassed about carrying that much weight because I saw how it restricted what I could really accomplish in life. So when I got back, I got on a real quest to say, okay, we got to deal with this. So I took my workouts a lot harder. I look a lot better. So when I went back this time, I did a whole lot better. Am I satisfied? No, but I went further than I did the last time. And that was just such a mind-blowing experience this time, because now I had something else to deal with. Now I have to deal with, okay, am I really mentally tough? Am I really focused on getting and hitting these goals? Am I really committed to changing? I know I was committed to change for weight, but now am I really committed to growing and building an industry within the industry? And that's where my focus is at now.
When it comes to you talking about, changing, because obviously you went through this transformation, was it overnight?
Oh, no.
Takes time, right?
Oh, it does take time. But I can actually say that, look, there's so much out here as far as expert, but here's what I learned about some of the stuff, because this has just been a quest about me. I think people say, well, Brutus, how did you lose the weight? I say, I don't think it's how to lose the weight. I think it's just the thinking of losing the weight. I think that plays more of a role there, because it was that, okay, now with your thinking, it was like, okay, you got to deal with you every day. I can lie to you guys and say, man, I'm doing great. Life is good, everything. But then I got to face me back in that mirror. So I know David Goggins has a book out there, say, Can't Hurt Me. But he talks about an accountability mirror. Well, I was doing that. I was like, okay, you got to deal with you. You can bull crap everybody else, but you can't bull crap you. So I had to figure out, okay, today I can start with eating one salad. If I hit that one salad, boom, I'm good. But I learned also in that event that if I did one jumping jack every single day, I did work out. So I couldn't be so focused on the result. I had to focus on starting something and then setting a goal to get it done. And if I didn't, I felt like crap, because I knew I needed to develop better habits. I couldn't change my my situation overnight, but I knew I needed to develop better habits. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get in the habit of eating one salad a day. I'm going to get in the habit of doing one jumping jacks a day. Then it becomes now, because you're so competitive with yourself, now it's like, okay, I'm not going to eat one salad a day. I'm going to eat 2 salads a day, and I'm going to do 2 jumping jacks. And then you continue to push yourself. Then I was like 2 salads. I'm going to eat 3 salads a day.
There you go.
Do the whole day, and then it starts. And then you start building that momentum, and then boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, people are like, oh, congratulations, you lost weight. I didn't know. The weight loss is a benefactor of me making a decision on a daily basis to do one thing a day.
And this applies to your work.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
This applies to your work habits as well.
It absolutely does, because it's one phone call. It just took me talking to one person, because I moved to a completely new area where I didn't know anyone. Well, then now only thing I had to deal with was me. So if I have to deal with me, well, then I need to so how do I develop me? So I started speaking, and I got to develop a business that deals with people. So where I have to go out and meet the people. So I had to go talk to one person. Hi. Okay. All right. Say hi to one. All right. Good. Okay. Good. Now I say hi to 2 people. And then all of a sudden, then I started putting a goal. Can I beat yesterday? So that's my whole focus, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I got today. Today's the present, but tomorrow is, and we're dealing with the past. So can I say hello to one person? Once I start that, hello, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Then I start picking up momentum. Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to get to 10. So I started knocking out 10 in an hour, getting 10 new names and numbers in an hour. Then I was like, man, what else can I do? Can I make 100 phone calls? Yeah, I can make 100 phone calls. Then you continue, then you start, can I read one book? Well, I can't read the whole book in one day, but maybe I'll start with 5 pages. So you start somewhere, and then next thing you know, but you got to allow your habits to help you create the momentum that you need.
But I like that. It's one hello and one salad a day. That's actually pretty cool. That's a good formula.
But it's the most difficult. It's the simplest, but it's the most difficult thing you can actually do. So, but it's the simplest, but it's the most difficult because we will make all sorts of excuses. But then I also learned one thing, is how your mind and your body actually does not work together. See, that threw me off, because your body is in a habit of doing. Your mind is in a habit of creating. So your mind is saying, I'm gonna go to the gym. But if your body's not in the habit of going to the gym, it would actually override your mind. It would actually override your thinking. And taking control of that, and I'm saying the weight loss, that's the result of it. It's the benefactor of that. Building a business is a result of it. Living a great quality of life is a result of it because you did one thing to control your habit. One thing, one new habit you created that day, that's the result. That's what's working for you.
How did you master your mind? How did you get to that level? Was it an event? Was it, was it an event you attended, or was it a life event that happened?
I think it's a combination of all, because I was in our business, and we definitely have many different meeting sessions, so different meetings, and you meeting with different people that have hit certain, levels of accomplishments and stuff. You start working your mind. Then you start looking back at stuff that's happening in your future, and you got to first take full accountability. So I think the first part of mastering your thinking is acknowledging where you stand right now. Is my mind weak? Is where do I do a self-accountability, self-reflection? Where am I at right now? Okay, so but where do I want to go? See, a lot of times people try to master the mind, but they don't give the mind any instructions on where they want to go. It's like, because I also majored in education, and I think that's really where it started with the psychology aspect of everything that I've endured, is because most people, their children would get in trouble, right, in school, but they don't give them a game plan on how to get out of it, or give them something to get out of it. Like my children would my daughter, I remember she got into some type of argument with a young lady at school. And I was like, look, you can't allow someone that makes $9 an hour bring you down because you make $9 million. If you make $9 million, that $9 an hour person can't bring you to their level. They got to step to your level. So it was given that mindset to your children. Then I had to give it to me to say, okay, Brutus, what's bringing you to this level? What's making you want to eat? Is it emotion? Is it what's going on? Is it and I realized it was a lot of emotional stuff, and I thought I wasn't an emotional person. But through having friends and accountability, they were like, hey man, you can be a little bit too emotional. So I had to start learning how to eliminate emotions from what I wanted to get done. So I had to do a self-accountability now. So now before I make a decision, I'm like, okay, is it an emotional decision, or is it actual, is it really a logical decision? So I had to master that part first, then start working on, then develop a game plan to pay attention, and then staying engaged as much as possible. Like the book, Outwitting the Devil. Of course, reading books and doing affirmation, that definitely helped give you another clear picture of where you want to go. But that's the stuff that really got me to where I started thinking at another level and started becoming a little bit more mentally tough.
Okay. Brutus, would you say, would you be able to, the question that I had was, would you be able to confuse what you were going through with not uncertainty, but with passion? Like, and what I'm saying, like, when you were trying to better your habits and better your business, were you passionate about the outcome of what you were trying to accomplish? originally?
No, I wasn't. The passion wasn't there. It was just something I wanted to get done. You know, I was one of those guys that just wanted to get done. And then I started realizing my true passion was getting the job done. You know, it wasn't what the outcome was. I became more passionate about making sure that I completed my task and actually what the task was. And that's where the passion drove me. That's where the I would say the discernment. That's where I relied on what I had to drive me forward. But that's really where the passion was, to get the job done. Was I need to get the job done, and I can be very passionate. Now I had to learn too that if I can be passionate about getting the job done, but doesn't necessarily mean my team is passionate about getting the job done either. Does that make sense? So now it's like, okay, now you know you can get the job. Now, how can you get them passionate about getting the job done? Well, I had to first go back and figure out what they wanted, and then how I can help them, and then what level they needed to go. What exactly? I had to really be focused on them instead of myself.
Would you say when you were focused on them and finding out like what drove them, are you noticing that like material items, you know, are still like a big motivator for individuals?
You know what? No, not for no material. I would say depending on the age group. Okay, depending on the age group, because if I'm dealing more millennials, man, S550, you know, Mercedes convertible put down, you know, right. Them dressing sharp. Yeah. But once they get into that age of that 30, 36, 35, 30, it's really, they just want to be acknowledged that they are somebody. Right. They just want to really hear that you care about them, that you really want to see them succeed. What can you do? They really want to know that you're there. But the millennials in the beginning, it's the, hey, man, I got $500 on the table. Who's going to go get it? You know, hey, here's $1,000 on the table. Here's the iPad. Here's an Apple Watch. Because I put everything on the table thinking that everybody was going to go for it. But it was always this one specific group. Now, unless that person was just very competitive, like with me, you put a pencil on the table, I'm going to go for it. You know, I'm going to go for it because I find I'm very competitive, especially now that, you know, having where I'm at now, I'm still very competitive, right? So, but for everyone else, it's really is like they want to know that you care about it. They want to know that you're there for them. They want to know that you love them and that you know that they are important to your organization, even though they may not be a lead player. But you, as the leader, have to know that that's what they are, and you got to go find the person that's going to go, the people that is competitive, that wants the bigger house, that wants the cars, that wants the lifestyle. But you just have to. It's just. I guess it comes with experience.
And what do you do when you do have that person that's a little older and you know that they do need money to survive, but they just don't, you know, they're just not moving forward. They're just not, you know, applying it or going through the process or running the system. How do you get across to someone that is not, you know, motivated by material, but you know they need it in order to stay alive? How are you, you know, facing that issue?
And that's a great question because, and I hate to say it, but I've always told them, I say, look, you need a couple of things. You need ability. One of my mentors said, you need ability and desire. Okay. Do they have the ability to do it? Yes, they do. Okay. But if they don't have the desire to do it, you will lose more time continuing to work with that person for looking at them as because you know they need more money, but they haven't said it. Until they say it, then there's nothing you can do. They don't have the desire to make themselves better to get the more money. They're either too embarrassed, they're too worried about what people are saying, they're too concerned with they haven't accomplished this. They have so much baggage right now. Their self-esteem is so low that it will really not benefit you right now. You still love them, but right now, you just got to give them the stuff that they can do. You know, what if that person can make a call? What if that person can pass out a flyer? And you do those things like that. What if that person can, you know, you find out what they can do and then to help them build up a little bit more and to have a little more desire. But that's something they got to really say themselves. If you try to say it, then you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna really destroy your business. because you're gonna be looking, you're gonna spend time with this person that doesn't really have a desire to go move forward, and you know they need it, but they haven't told you that. See,
Right.
a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're trying to solve the person's problem for them, but they haven't told us they have a problem yet.
Right. You know what's funny is I'm actually dealing with this with a particular person, and I want your input on this. Is like you said, if you're this type of person that's in this type of mindset, you've got to realize that we as entrepreneurs, we're out there trying to solve problems, and then we have other problems that are coming in. Us taking away from that time to dedicate to you, you better take full advantage of it. And if you don't, we realize it, and then we have to move on. And we're not trying to be jerks or anything about it. It's just we have priorities, and we have to move. We have to feed, the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you agree with that, or is like what's your?
I totally agree with that. It's not like, and hey, look, it's my family, your family. You don't want to feed yours. It's nothing to do with mine. I mean, I can't help you with yourself. Sorry about that. They just said my battery was. But I can't help you if you're not excited or have a desire to feed your family, or to do some stuff or take your family on a world trip. I look at it that you don't have that you're not wanting. See, by me going for more, there's a level of expectation that I'm laying out for everyone that comes around my family. My children has a running joke that, in our house, they were like, and I hope this get at it, but I hope take this right, but it's pretty no pansies. But then my daughter will call it, she'll be like, no titty babies. So no titty babies. No titty babies, So, so you come here whining towards me. It's kind of tough, I'm gonna love you, but I'm just letting you know a good coach would go find new players to go play with, and he got to be okay with it. As much as they love Tom Brady, but they know one day they're gonna have to move on without him.
Right. And you know what, Brutus, you brought up a great topic right now. A coach, a trainer. When I get hired, when people now trust in me to lead them, I'm not supposed to be their friend. If I as a coach, as a trainer, am now saying, "Oh, you did great," and that's the pat on the back you're looking for. I'm sorry, but you're right. You're not going to get that from me because of the fact that you're not growing. And you're not bettering yourself. And I know that you have the ability, but here's, my take on that if I, just go ahead and say, no, you're doing a great job. I feel that I'm not doing my job by lying to the individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Here's one of the things, the situation that happened to me in the business is when I went full time in 2008. So I went full time in 2008. What happened was my broker, pretty much regional vice president, he sold his business, and I started part-time. We have another level called a district leader, and I was part-time first, and I became full-time. And there's different promotion guidelines, right? Different areas that you got to strive to go for. And I was like, look, I'm on a 50% contract. I need to get to this 110 contract because that was the regional vice president contract. I need to become a regional vice president. And the guy sold his business, so I didn't have an office to work out of. I didn't have nowhere to work out of, and I had to build up everything I got today. I had to build it up. But so I didn't have that day-to-day coaching. If I had that day-to-day coaching, I would have exploded even more. It would explode even more. So so now when I go to my coaches, if you was my coach, I'm like, dude, don't BS me. Tell me exactly what I got to do, and I'll go do it. But just don't BS me. But sometimes that type of alpha thinking, that type of mentality, sometimes is shunned upon because everybody wants to be, hey, it's okay, we love you. And you got to know that, yeah, you can do a little bit of that too, but you got to know that as your coach, you told me you wanted to get there. Now, do you want to get there kicking and screaming, or, how do you want to get there? And I think that's the biggest thing to coach. Like my personal trainer is like, he just said, okay, do this, do this. He didn't tell me why we had to do it. So I had to ask myself, okay, look, this is where I want to go. Are you the guy going to help me to get there? And then right. I had to let him go. And then I let the number go. Then I found one that I was like, okay, good. He understands this is where this is where I want to go. So he's helping me to get there. So we have to do interviews. If you're telling me you want to go this right, how do you want us to get there? This is a system that people that have gone there did. Now, what are you willing to do in this process to get there?
So be coachable.
Oh, that's a huge thing. But then you know what? That's not the only one. Be coachable, but also be ambitious and be dissatisfied with where you're at. Are you dissatisfied? Because sometimes people say, I'm coachable, but they're really agreeable. Because if you agree with what I say, if you agree with what I say, then you'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but if you don't agree, then you're not gonna do it. So it's like, so we got to define. So I'm like, look, are you coachable or are you just an agreeable person? You know, because as a coach, we have to make sure we don't spend too much time spending our time with people that aren't really want to move forward. You know, right. And that's the hard part.
Exactly. All right, so let's give like one of my questions here. I always like to ask is, what's something about you that people would be surprised to know about?
That's a great question. I like to sing classical opera.
You like what? Classical opera.
Sing classical opera music. Yeah.
Really? Can you give us a couple of notes here?
Yeah, sure. Where you walk, cool there shall find a glaze. Trees where you sit shall find, shall cloud into a glaze. I love, stuff.
Yeah. Right on, bro.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So Brutus, where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? What can we expect from you?
Oh man, what you could expect, right? We got some great up and coming leaders that are coming up, man. We're gonna move ourselves. Right now we're a regional vice president and we're working to become a senior vice president. So we got to get another 3 more brokerage office open. We believe we'll have 2 brokerage office open by the end of this year, 2019. We're looking to move our licensed agents to 150 licensed representative, throughout the United States or just right here in Central Florida, get to 150 licensed representative. And then also, give away $100,000, save, $100,000 and invest another $100,000. So those are things like that we have on the go that we want to just be able to be a blessing to so many other people. I got some charities that I care about, some stuff that impacted my family. Early on, my mother passed away at age 51. Of cardiac disease. She was a single Haitian mother. When we moved from home to home to home and she just didn't understand that. So I really believe that financial literacy is an area. So in the next 5 years, to accomplish a program where we can teach financial literacy to many single moms, because reason why that's passionate of mine is because if the mothers know, they're dealing with the children more, right? So if they teach their children financial principles and financial strategies, then they can change the world because their children will be equipped with the information. So those are some game plans I have for the up and coming future.
Right on. Awesome. So if people want to get a hold of you and get in contact with you, maybe join your team, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh man, awesome, man. They can always contact me on Facebook, on Brutus Lederl. That's Brutus. My last name is funny. It's German. We'll talk about that later. But it's Lederl. I'm the only Brutus Lederl on Facebook. You can also contact me directly on my cell phone, which is 305-962-7547. Also, you can messenger me. I am on Instagram. I do have a LinkedIn page. But you can look for me on Instagram at Brutus Lederl. I'm sorry, Brutus, the letter L, the number 75 on Instagram. And, just, give me a call, whatever I can do. I look to partner up with so many people and make some more stuff happen for families.
Awesome. Brutus, thank you once again. And it was a pleasure meeting you in Vegas, also reconnecting with you, now on Zoom. I'm over in California,
Yeah, look at that background, man. That's beautiful, man. You should pan back there. I love that, man. That is gorgeous. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we finally got water, so that's as green as it's going to get.
It's not brown. And
It's not brown.
It's not California gold that I'm used to.
Hey, no, next time I'll take you on a tour around here, man. Show you around some of this stuff around here. We got a lot of green here.
I appreciate it. So, awesome. So, yeah, no, definitely we'll be in touch, and I'll see you at the next Marshall Silver event. That's, one of my mentors. And matter of fact, we're going to be hosting an event this next month coming over to Ontario, California. So he's in
California. Okay.
Yeah. So super excited about that.
That's going to be great, man. Well, look, Jesse, man, wish you all the best. Jaime, it's a pleasure meeting you. Look forward to do this again with you guys. You guys are awesome. And I hope this helped out a lot of up and coming future leaders.
Likewise, awesome. Man. Great meeting you, man. All right,
absolutely.
Guys, that concludes another episode of The True Hot Seat. Smash up those likes and give us some love. Until next time, peace out.